Good evening. As we begin to prepare for the Ignite program, this is a good time to silence your cell phones so they won't disturb the presentations. You will need your cell phones at the end of the presentations to give us your feedback using the Swana app. I will have more information for you about how to use the Swana app at the end of our program. In our work as solid waste professionals, we emphasize safety in all aspects of what we do. WASTECON is no different. You'll hear a few safety tips at the end of each session you attend and see safety tips and discussion questions on table tents like this one in some of the sessions too. We know that many of you are at this convention center for the first time and maybe even in Orlando for the first time. So let's review a couple of safety issues unique to our location. Remember that we're in the southern United States. It's August and it's really hot outside, but it's air conditioned in here. Minimize your risk of heat exposure by staying indoors, attending all the sessions, and drinking plenty of fluids, and make sure at least some of them do not contain alcohol. Be sure to arrive on time at all the conference sessions to hear the rest of our safety tips, and everyone, stay safe. Now, to begin our Ignite presentations, you'll see a list of presenters on page 17 of your conference program, and you'll find one more special presentation in the program addendum that we'll announce later. But first, these two brave people have volunteered to do a 5-minute presentation in which they have exactly 20 slides that will auto-advance every 15 seconds, whether they're ready for them or not. It's much, much harder than it sounds and requires a lot of practice. Please give them all a hand and your kind attention. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming to the stage our first Ignite presenter, Christy Hurlburt, Western Regional Sales Manager for Enevo, which makes fill-level sensors and logistics software. She is going to help us understand what the heck is big data and why we should care. Good luck with that, Christy. While she's getting ready, let me tell you a little bit about her. Christy joined Enevo from Cascadia Consulting, where she worked primarily with Cascadia corporate clients on the planning and implementation of their sustainability goals. These included helping clients with waste reduction and getting zero waste, doing landscape assessments and climate adaptation planning. Christy's background is in sales and marketing. She previously was the director of marketing at Bosch Solar Energy, and before that, she ran her own sustainability consulting firm, Spark Change. She also has worked at Medtronics, a medical device manufacturer, and Agilent Technologies, a high-tech test equipment company. Christy lives in San Francisco, and in her free time likes to ski, mountain bike, read, dance to 80s music, walk everywhere possible, and spend time with her family and friends, particularly her park ranger husband who works on Alcatraz. Oh, Christy, here's your 5 minutes of fame. Go.
All right, this is a quipu, an ancient form of a book. The Incans used to tie knots and ropes to tell a story. The first census data that we know of is from 2 AD in the Han Dynasty. Today, data is everywhere. Our cell phones are tracking us, our credit cards are tracking our buying history, videos, images, these are all forms of data. The Internet of Things portends a world of trillions of sensors everywhere. The whole adage of you can't manage what you can't measure applies here. Now that we can measure all these things, we can have smarter cities and smarter organizations. Big data is, we use the 5 V's to describe big data. Volume, the amount of data generated from the beginning of time to 2008 is equivalent to the amount of data generated in 1 minute today. Staggering numbers. In the waste world, onboard computers are a great example of something that collects and generates a large volume of data. On our trucks, we look at truck status, fuel, and the dispatch can communicate real time with our trucks. Velocity is the speed of data. NRT's in-flight optical sorter takes 10,000 scans a second. So high velocity of gathering data and then making a decision to sort. Variety is the breadth of sources of where data comes from. So waste audits, scales, sensors like Enevo that tell you how full your containers are. Veracity is the next V, and this is the messiness and trustworthiness of data. So as a waste industry, we want to know, is the data valid, and does it come from a source that we trust? Now, the final V is value. The fifth V is value. What is all this data worth? In Lebanon, they've been without a president for 14 months. Protesters have shut down the landfills and waste is piling up. So Uber decided to use their data and their platform to create Uber Recycle. Residents of the city of Beirut can click on Uber Recycle. A van was delivered to their house, picks up their recycling, and takes it to a facility. So what a cool way of using data to add value and help out in a crisis. Now, data's not all rosy. There are security issues. We've all heard about the Target hacks, the Sony hacks. We need to make sure and ensure that our data is protected from intruders. That's not to say don't invest and don't look at big data. We have ways to protect it. So looking at encryption techniques, secure logins, your organization just needs to make sure they have a strategy for big data is the key takeaway here. And companies like Enevo, we're taking care of our customers' data. Now, so what? Why do we care as a waste industry? Well, money. McKinsey estimates that the value of open data is $3 trillion. Now, how can we capitalize on this in the waste world? Let's take a look at a couple hauler examples. So for business customers or commercial customers, onboarding is still a pretty manual process. What if a business could log in, type in their information, their type of business, their square footage, and upload a photo of their enclosure and get automatically generated service levels, bins ordered, and then delivered based on that. That would save time, money, and have a much smoother customer onboarding experience. Recycling has been a huge topic, our recycling markets this year. If you look at material value, it equals the commodity prices minus our costs. So we don't have a lot of influence over the commodity prices that are declining, so how about we look at reducing the costs? Imagine if we could deploy the same size bin with a sensor on it to every commercial customer. We could then collect based on fullness level and optimized routes. This would reduce the touches on our bins and our materials, therefore reducing collection costs and increasing material value. In addition, it takes trucks off the road, less emissions, what's not to like. So as we wrap up this very whirlwind tour through the big data world and how it applies to us in the waste industry, I realized that I need to find some zen because it can be overwhelming. So I try to find zen within it. But if not, if all else fails, this is also how you can deal with big data, and I can read it for you. After careful consideration of all 437 charts, graphs, and metrics, I've decided to throw up my hands, hit the liquor store, and get snockered. Who's with me? Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. Our next Ignite presenter is Chester Phillips from Arizona State University, where he is the Sustainability Coordinator and Director of Compost CATS program. He is going to share how a small group of students changed community practices and created lasting cultural change in southern Arizona. While he's getting ready, I'll tell you more about him. The very well-educated Chet completed a bachelor's degree in environmental science, another bachelor's degree in creative writing, a master's degree in nonfiction, and another master's degree in arid land resources scientist. He describes himself as the lead troublemaker and co-author of intergovernmental agreements with the City of Tucson and Tohoto Auditorium Nation San Xavier Co-op Farm that created a trans-institutional partnership in compost on a large scale in southern Arizona. His work and research combines expertise in environmental science, environmental policy, the social science of collaboration and coalition building, and creating more just and sustainable food systems, not to mention all forms of composting. Chet has completed a book-length narrative on his flight from family alienation in small-town East Texas through 5 years of homesteading in southern Arizona desert, from which 2 award-winning essays are taken. Past occupations include ranch hand, fire lookout, night shift delivery driver, rainwater harvester, environmental conflict resolution intern, and university instructor of courses in English, environmental sustainability, rainwater harvesting, and food systems. So now, take it away, Chester.
Hi, everyone. I'm gonna wait. Okay, here's the slides. I'm Chet Phillips, director of the University of Arizona, not ASU, Compost Cats. Let me just start by answering the question all of you must be wondering. No, we don't compost cats. But I do get to work with 14 passionate students and show them how to use their power to create change in the world. We've already taken Compost Cats from just an idea to a permanent city program in just 4 years. But let's back up and tell the story. We started out just wanting to do something better with the food scraps from our student union than throw them in the landfill. When I was hired in 2010, my supervisor told me, "Chet, there's this idea. You make it real." I set out to learn everything I could about commercial scale composting, fast. A few months later, we hired our first 5 student staff. I didn't know how long we'd be able to pay them or how long I'd keep my job. So here's the trash talk part of the presentation. 40% of the food in the United States ends up in a landfill before it hits anyone's plate. Tucson, where I live, is an hour north of the largest landlocked port for food in North America. Every year, over 6,000 tons of fresh produce, most of which are still perfectly good to eat, get thrown in one landfill. So we have our work cut out for us. And at first, our idea wasn't exactly embraced by the powers that be. One old school guy at the campus ag center called it throwing trash on the ground. The director of the campus ag center said, "Chet, you just need to hire some ag boys. I mean, I'm not going to put some girl on a tractor." So I hired 3 women, 2 men, and never looked back. We started with some donated trash bins and a beat-up truck. We got our first grant. 2 years later, we had over 30 businesses, restaurants, coffee shops, florist shops, businesses like Whole Foods and Starbucks. We outgrew both the Ag Center and the ideas of its director. I learned from friends at the local food bank that the Tohono O'odham tribe, within a reservation the size of Connecticut, was also interested in composting. We traded 20% of our finished compost to fertilize their crops for land and room to grow. In 2013, armed with the knowledge that the city of Tucson wanted to increase its diversion rate, I approached them cold and suggested we partner up for mutual benefit. I was lucky, they said yes. A year and a half later, last month, the mayor and city council unanimously voted to make the program permanent. The city collects, we educate the public and make the compost. San Javier uses our compost on their crops. We train our students to be the next generation of change-making environmental professionals. They learn marketing, giving presentations, heavy equipment operation, and a range of other skills, but that is still not the sum of our ambition. Back to the produce at the border. They give what they can to local food banks, but if you have 200,000 pounds of fresh tomatoes and another 100,000 pounds of squash every week, there's no way you can get that out fresh while it's still good. If you had a large-scale facility to process it, though, can it or freeze it or dry it to extend the shelf life, you could get it out to people year-round. So Compost Cats is now using its social capital to work with partners, find investors, and convert a closed Tucson high school into a food processing hub and food education center. We made a deal to source some tribal crops back to student union restaurants. We call this closing the loop. And the thing is, in our industry, we too often get caught up in the day-to-day and see recycling and composting as just a business, just commodity prices and tipping fees. It still is all that. But I challenge you to begin to see what you do like we do at Compost Cats. We turn what is cast off by society back into something essential. This is work that preserves and renews the world for all our children and everyone else who lives in it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chet. Let's have another big round of applause for all of our two-night presenters. All right, well, next up, we have a very special presentation by the technical division leaders for your amusement. I'd like to invite the next technical leaders to come up now. These leaders were invited to do an Ignite presentation on why you should join a technical division or risk missing out on the fun here in Orlando and long after WASTECON. They've hijacked the format, deciding they had to have 10 minutes instead of the usual 5. So here to double your pleasure by turning the Ignite program format on its head are Lindsay Kosenko, the YP representative for Landfill Management Technical Division, Don Ross, Collection and Transfer Technical Division, Elizabeth Rowe, Communication, Education, and Marketing Technical Division, Kevin Yard, Landfill Management Technical Division, Bob Watts, Landfill Gas and Biogas Technical Division, Sean Warscher, Waste and to Energy Technical Division, Ken Braun, Recycling and Waste, Special Waste Technical Division, and John Hassis, Planning and Management Technical Division. Are you all ready, everyone? Okay, go.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Lindsay Kosenko, and I'm going to start us off tonight with this amazing presentation. We are taking over Ignite tonight while all the technical divisions present for your amusement. Just as many amusement parks in Orlando, Florida support area tourism, SWANA's 7 amazing technical divisions support all of you guys and your membership, while appealing to different people in different ways. All children, and all children at heart, love visiting the Magic Kingdom, just as teachers and educators love to make WASTECON communication and education easy and successful. Explorers gravitate toward the islands of adventure, just as engineers and forward thinkers of SWANA like to discover new innovative ways to collect, transfer, recycle, and landfill waste. Thinkers in the worldly can spend hours at Epcot, like the planners and leaders like to learn all they can about new possibilities and strategies in their industries. Thank you.
Here's Donnie, Collection and Transfer Committee, Vice Director. Thanks for showing up tonight. Why am I here? Because Jim Miller can't sing and dance. But seriously, we got the cool toys, so who doesn't want to join the Collection and Transfer Committee? We may drink, but never when we drive. Remember, everybody, safety first. We all want to get together and be safe and come home at the end of the day. One of the things we like to do together when we meet, which is tomorrow at 1 o'clock in Sun 3, is share ideas. We all get together and talk about how we can learn something from each other. We might learn about carts. Who doesn't have carts? Who goes once a week? Who goes twice a week? Lifts per hour, hours per haul. But most importantly, we all have tight budgets. And we're all looking for efficiencies. Why? We need to improve our bottom line. You want fries with that? Seriously, we're here to listen, we're here to work together and collaborate. Come out to our meeting, let's talk about stuff. You're gonna learn something new, I promise, and if not, we're just gonna have some fun.
In Harry Potter's world, the sorting hat assigns each new Hogwarts student to a house, but our sorting hat decides which public education methods suit our topics. It's our job to sort properly. A good wizard needs spells at the ready. Our spells are found in events, social media, audio, video, printed materials, and more. When magical enough, spells shift public opinion, making programs successful. A charm adds certain properties to an object or creature. We charm with our words, creating positive images. Charms last longer than spells, so we cultivate relationships with elected officials, the press, staff, and community members. In the wizarding world, illusions seem very real. We show folks an illusion of what something can and should be. Done properly, these illusions are so convincing that people want to make them real. With our tools, we craft a perfect art of wizardry. Together, our wizarding methods show folks what's important, keeping them informed and prepared. Join us for the CEM meeting and learn more on Wednesday at 3 p.m.
Hello, I'm Kevin Yard, the Director of the Landfill Management Technical Division, and excited to be here to tell you a little bit about our division. As you know, landfills have evolved dramatically over the last few decades. Well, our division is evolving with the landfills. One example of that would be here, where you see the integrated waste management facility of DeKalb County in the state north of us in Georgia. Very exciting facility. As you see some glimmer of the activity here, but this slide really shows, and you'd need to study it for more than the allotted 15 seconds, of material recovery, composting, energy recovery, recreational facilities, C&D diversion, maximizing the value and diversion of this facility. Some of the more exciting things we're doing, dealing with today's greatest challenges, happen in our leachate management committee. As you know, leachate is one of the highest costs of many of the facilities, at least on the eastern side. Other committees include health and safety, rules and regulations for some real excitement, awards, bioreactor, yes, they're still around, and our YPs, as demonstrated already by Lindsay.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm speaking on behalf of the Landfill Gas and Biogas Technical Division. For those of you who are interested, these are these deers that are out at my landfill. I'm playing the part of, by the way. Now, important thing is networking, and one of the things that if the EPA is getting your goat, one of the things about this is that networking with the technical division is a way to get the information out there. Advocacy. If you need somebody to whisper in the ear of the regulators or the people making decisions, we're the group you want to join. So, leadership. Our group, join the division. You're going to be among people. You're going to be setting policy, making decisions. And you can sit on the edge of the fence and then just take off. Your career will take off. Now, if you don't join this division, you're going to be spending your time with a bunch of turkeys. So, Wednesday, 2 p.m., come on over, Sunroom 5 and 6. Join the Landfill Gas and Biogas Division meeting. So, Waste Energy Technical Division, what a great way to ignite your career. SWANA. SWANA stands for a lot of things, including sometimes we all need assistance. What does the Waste Energy Technical Division provide? Sources of information, ways to learn from your peers, access to institutional knowledge, new cutting-edge technologies update, and ability to be with the A-listers in terms of looking at policy. People that will help answer your questions and keep you up at night. Why join? Solutions to your toughest problems, ways to further sustainable waste management practices, ability to influence policy, networking, an opportunity to become a leader and get to great places like inside a boiler or looking down a trash bin in the beautiful Canadian Rockies. A little bit of the history of waste energy. First modern waste energy facility was built in Saugus in 1975. Since that time, there are probably 80 to 85 facilities across North America. Today, there are new facilities being expanded, built, and new technologies at play. Next steps for you are select a technical division or 2 or 3, write a small check. In some cases, you don't have to do that. Attend the next tech division meeting, which for waste energy is Wednesday at 4. Nominate yourself for a committee, planning,
I know that's a hard act to follow. I'm John, the new Technical Division Director of Planning and Management. You see all of the different divisions that have been presented here. All right? Here they are, all 7 of them. So you may be thinking, which one do I join? Are you thinking that right now? After seeing all these presentations, you're thinking real hard, which one should I join? It's a tough decision. But let me tell you, the mother of all technical divisions is planning and management. We oversee the whole system. All of it. Because we deal with MSWIM. MSWIM. Can you say it with me? MSWIM. Everybody knows what that is. If you don't, join my division. Because technical division short for that is TD. We love these acronyms. TD is also touchdown. When you join a technical division, you score a touchdown and you're a winner in SWANA. Thank you.
Before we give our final applause to everybody, please take a look at the back of your pamphlet, page 768. 68 will have all the technical divisions and when their meetings are, so please pick one of these fabulous people to follow and attend a meeting. Thank you so much, guys.
All right, let's give them one final round of applause to the brave Ignite presenters and the creativity delivery.